Show me the money. Show me the money.
20.
Kicking off the chart at number 20, it's new entry, Villages?
Good effort.
I gave it a go.
19.
And down 6 places in its 6th week, it's The Equalizer 2 at 19.
18.
Another new entry, Batu Gul Mita Chalu is this week's number 18.
17.
It wouldn't be a box office chart without a couple of superhero films. With Marvel duly obliging, it's Ant-Man and the Wasp at number 17.
16.
At 16 is a foreign language romantic drama, Cold War.
15.
And 15 sees Tom Cruise continuing to defy the odds in Mission Impossible Fallout.
14.
It seems anything can get a sequel these days, as little-known British crime drama The Intent proves. The Intent 2, the come-up is at 14.
13.
Spike Lee's Oscar bait is proving it has some staying power, but fell 7 places last week. At 13 is BlacKkKlansman.
12.
And at number 12 is Hotel Transylvania 3, Summer Vacation.
11.
At number 11 is another new entry from Oscar-nominated director Lenny Abramson. The Little Stranger stars Domhnall Gleeson, I think, Will Poulter and Charlotte Rampling. Here's the trailer.
The first time I saw Hundreds Hall was July 1919. Nothing could have prepared me for the spell it cast. When I saw the house again 30 years later, I could hardly comprehend the change in the place. Why don't you tell me what's going on? You wouldn't believe me.
Mother, this is Dr. Faraday.
How did you find the patient?
A little under the weather. It's war shock.
Suddenly feel nervous.
A long time ago, there was a child here.
What are you doing here?
Susan died before I was born.
There's something evil in this house.
That's nonsense.
Betty, what are you doing here?
You rang for me, miss.
I did not.
Was this spell that wrong?
It rang itself, did it?
What is all the noise?
Do you mind displaying tricks? Susan is a memory. It can all be explained.
How innocent you are.
This delusion seems almost contagious. Someone's playing games.
There's generally women at the root of this stuff.
There's something in this house that hates us.
You do not belong here. You.
The top 10 is up next, featuring last week's chart topper The Predator, plus new entries A Simple Favour and The House with a Clock in Its Walls.
That was Down in New Orleans from Princess and the Frog. Beth, cracking chart so far?
Yeah, it's exciting so far.
Yeah? Still a lot of big films?
Yep, still a lot more to come.
I'm psyched. You ready to carry on?
I'm so ready to go on.
Let's do this.
10.
So, kicking off the top 10 this week is a former number 1. Down 4 places, but still hanging in there is Mamma Mia 2. Here we go again.
9.
And to another incredible effort, 11 weeks in the chart, but we still can't get enough of Disney's latest superhero sequel. It's Incredibles 2 at 9.
8.
Christopher Robin made it 3 consecutive weeks at number 1 this summer, but it's starting to slip down the charts, finding itself at number 8.
7.
Well, one thing is for certain this week. We are guaranteed to have a new number 1. In a spectacular fall from grace, The Predator is down to number 7 in its 2nd week. The alien sci-fi sequel had a big marketing campaign, but it looks set to have a brief and disappointing run in the UK. In the run-up to its release, stars of the film were asked to pitch Predator against other monsters. And here's what they had to say.
All right, everybody. We're hanging out on a set of Predator. One of the ways in which we pass the time is we like to have little debates. Today's debate, who would win between the Predator versus... So we're going to throw out a couple of ideas. Would love to hear your feedback.
I'm going to start off with The Rock.
He throws the smile.
Done.
He hits him with the wing.
With the wing.
I smell what The Rock is cooking. That could be close. That could be close.
What about Predator versus The Punisher?
I knew that was coming.
I mean, I'm sorry, but it was just begging. It was
no
begging.
contest.
No contest, right? The Predator wins.
I mean, like, the dude is from a different planet, so like bacteria. You know what I mean?
Well, you've battled both Predator and chlamydia.
Bro.
The Predator versus, I don't know, a young lady, a villain, perhaps by the name of Psylocke.
What?
What? Oh.
Watch out.
Oh, that is a sharp one. Predator versus Johnny Utah.
Oh, not good.
Predator? I'm...
No, he would kill Johnny Utah. You just rip him out.
Yeah.
How do you think Wolverine would fit? He's got the claws. He regenerates. So he will keep coming back over and over again.
I like Wolverine.
I like Wolverine. Big up to Logan.
Predator versus It. Tom, what do you got? I say it would be a pretty short movie.
Predator versus Yoda.
Yoda's gonna win?
Easy.
How so?
What are you talking about?
How confuse him to death?
Oh, he's got the Force.
He's got the Force.
Predator doesn't have the Force.
Is it done?
Yeah. That's it. Game over.
The Predator is still in UK cinemas, for now.
6.
On to another new entry this week, and it's everyone's favourite Wahlberg doing what he does best. Mile 22 is a cross between Bourne and Argo, as an American intelligence officer is tasked with smuggling a police officer out of the country. Take a listen to the trailer.
Do you want to live in a world where everybody feels cozy and validated all the time? Or do you want to live in a world that works? We fight new wars. The old options, military, diplomacy, they don't always succeed. Sometimes you need a third option. That's Overwatch. According to the government, we do not exist. We're ghosts, but we are very real.
I'm only going to outline this one time. 9 pounds of radioactive isotope is missing.
It's enough to make 6 major cities uninhabitable.
He knows exactly where it is.
Stop where you are, sir. On your knee. Get out.
What do you want?
I want out of the country.
He's wanted for espionage.
We're talking about a corrupt, low-level cop.
You're sitting here indicates he's not so low level.
Be careful, you be careful.
Do you have men wandering our embassy?
You good there? Can I trust you?
Put me on a plane to the US and I'll give you everything.
From the 40s. To go. This is an Overwatch operation.
The goal is deliver that package to here, mile 22.
Look, you know the game this is.
Take a drive.
I pray guys me by what I'm about to go through. We got bikes, Dougie. Pray. I'm trying to beat life cause I can't cheat death. Brother Salvo, we're in contact, major contact. Requesting hand of God.
Got it. Take it.
Pray.
How many miles out are we?
12.
Our angel can only stay on the ground 10 minutes. They miss that window, they are dead.
Pray.
You keep coming to me until you kill us all? Is that the game today? I'll play.
Everything I've seen made me everything I am. Pray. Fast forward, freeze frame on my pistol. Pray.
You're chaos. I think I might be worse.
I am a killer who looks like a hero. Pray.
You feeling calm, Alice?
Not even a little. Are you?
I'm totally calm.
That's because you're mentally unstable.
Thank you.
Mile 22 at this week's number 6. And we are speeding into the top 5 with new entries A Simple Favour and A House with a Clock in Its Walls, still battling for the top spot alongside The Nun, King of Thieves and Crazy Rich Asians. All were in last week's top 5.
5.
Well, it's definitely not The Nun. The horror prequel to The Conjuring is getting rave reviews, but it's not quite enough. Falling 3 places this week, it's at number 5.
4.
And staying at number 4 is the true story about the infamous Hatton Garden heist, starring Michael Caine, Ray Winston and a host of British acting royalty. It's King of Thieves. Film correspondent Kerry Ann McNally nabbed the film's director James Marsh and screenwriter Joe Penhall for an exclusive interview.
You said film correspondent.
Film. I'm pretty sure I said film.
It's okay, we're not on the radio or anything.
It's not like it's live. Here's what they had to say for themselves.
Well, some materials that got me interested. There was this fabulous sort of 100-page document that Scotland Yard had compiled of all of the surveillance conversations that they picked up, because they bugged the gang really carefully, meticulously. So I had this great document of all their conversations, which were all kind of mad and, very much in criminal vernacular. And there's a great crime reporter, Duncan Campbell, who gave me a lot of material. So I was kind of really hooked in by that, and I made sure that I had lots of sources, so that what the story told was close to the truth as it could be,
And James, it seems to me like you're drawn to true stories from your previous work.
Seems to me too.
What aspect of the Hatton Garden heist kind of sparks your vision?
Well, it's unusual to get a story that's so classically a heist film. I mean, literally, it is. That's the story as enacted by the events and the people involved. It had this structure of a heist film without doing anything to it. And within that structure, you had a very unusual group of characters, unusual by virtue of their age and the things that came with their age, and unusual by virtue of that. It's a very old-fashioned crime. I mean, I didn't know there were still vaults like that in London. I didn't know that Hatton Garden was still that kind of diamond centre. It was like a totally unknown part of London for me. So as a sort of documentary filmmaker, you're also an anthropologist to some extent, and here was a world that I didn't really knew still existed, and there it was. And Joe had spent a lot of time, eking out the characters from how they spoke and the choices they were making. And what you had was this classic heist film where planning, execution, and the consequences when there's something at stake to fight over. And that was the part of it that I think got us both really interested, was the kind of unseemly disputes that unfolded after the crime had taken place, which we heard, you can sort of discern in the transcripts. And the kind of poison and backstabbing that was going on was all true. And so we had to embrace that. And it, in a sense, you have a true story that has, almost by definition, the proportions of comedy to it, or you can't, overlook those elements because they're just there. So all those elements, for me, were what made it interesting to make as a film.
And Charlie, Basil is still somewhat of a mystery, so you must have not had as much research as the other cast members to go on. How did you approach the role?
Well, I came on board with a script that we were ready to shoot, so I had I got pretty much all my information from that, and of course Joe and James were like sources of so much, a wealth of knowledge for me to kind of delve into and ask them what they thought about this guy and what we knew about him and what we didn't know and blah blah blah. The main thing was, I think, was to avoid a cliche that I don't think would have been accurate or interesting, was that he was this kind of mastermind behind the whole thing, and that he was kind of very cleverly and cunningly planning it so that he could get away and incriminate the others. I think I think what made the most amount of sense for us was to find a Basil that was smart enough and clued up enough to be able to pull off the elements of the heist that he was responsible for. The alarm systems, getting into the building itself, etc. But also a man that was kind of a bit socially awkward, a little bit kind of matesless, so that he couldn't take this idea or what he had to thieves of his own age who were potentially more capable.
And it's such a brilliant cast of British legends everywhere alongside you. And you have some memorable scenes with Sir Michael and Jim Broadbent in particular. How much did you enjoy collaborating with them on set?
Yeah, it's dream come true. And unlikely that I'll ever be in a situation where I'm with such a great number of my heroes. I can't even talk about it without cracking a smile. So it's one of the highlights of my life for sure.
And James, I read that this was the first movie to be filmed actually at Hatton Garden. How challenging was it filming there and elsewhere in the busy capital?
Well, it wasn't that challenging, to be honest. We had to shoot there. You can't really reproduce that environment in any plausible way anywhere else. And so much of it is, when you do that, you just wherever you put the camera, it's going to be right. The logistical issues there always are with films. We had to shoot night shoots there, which you start at 11 o'clock at night and finish at 6 in the morning, and some of the residents weren't particularly happy about that. We had quite a few drunk people yelling at us on Friday nights in particular. But actually, once you're there, you have the control you have, and we kind of enjoyed our time there. And we had a great locations manager who made it all very smooth for us to shoot around the jewellery shops, and all of whom had lost merchandise in the vault. So we had to overcome that initial slightly sceptical reaction they might have.
And one for all of you. I believe in the police transcripts that the group talked about having a film made about them and talking about famous villains. Do you think they're happy with how popular their story is now?
They'd be the right people to ask, really, wouldn't they? But
I bet you they're thrilled, yeah. I mean, one of the things that really interested me about the whole thing too was their self-awareness, their self-consciousness, a sort of weird interface of complete lack of self-awareness and this overweening self-awareness, and knowing that one day there'd be a film about them.
Well, one way they're going to get caught too. There's an assumption in that idea that we're going to get caught and that the story's going to come out, which is interesting. Whether they made that connection themselves, so I have no idea. But that's certainly that they're aware of their own mythology, and I think that's part of how we put that in our script too.
The Film Show on Hospital Radio Medway.
You're listening to the box office chart on Hospital Radio Medway, and that was a vote from this week's number 3, Crazy Rich Asians. The breakout rom-com of the year sees 2 Asian Americans get their relationship pushed to its limits at a family wedding in Singapore. The film has done exceptionally well in America and is holding up well here too, but it's not quite enough to challenge the big new entries of the week. So the number 1 battle is down to A Simple Favour and The House with a Clock in Its Walls. The former, a tense thriller starring Blake Lively as the high-flying neighbour who mysteriously disappears, and Anna Kendrick as the widowed mum on a mission to find out the truth. The latter is a star-powered fantasy starring Jack Black and Cate Blanchett in the most family-friendly apocalypse movie of the year. Well, I can tell you, this week's number 1 is...
Number 1.
Last stop. Lewis? I'm your Uncle Jonathan.
Are you wearing a robe?
It's a kimono. Here we are. Home sweet home.
You're Lewis, I presume. How was your trip?
This old hag is my neighbor.
I'm relieved to see you didn't inherit your uncle's freakishly oversized head.
My God, did that withered purple skeleton just speak? You'll see, it's quite different here. Have a look around. You're perfectly safe.
That's safe?
As long as it's fed. Do you know what a warlock is, Lewis?
A boy witch.
I think they're a little more than boy witches.
Are you saying that you're a warlock? Please teach me, please, please.
Okay, have it your way. I can give you the right books, teach you the right spells, but that last 1%, that's up to you.
I don't want the creepy little runt. Think I want him? Lucky shot.
You've told Lewis everything?
Well, not everything.
Do you hear the ticking?
This house used to be owned by another warlock.
He's very wicked, very powerful.
He left a hidden clock in the walls. We don't know what it does, except something horrible. Three gongs. Last time it was 4. What happens when it gets down to 1?
Nothing good, that's for certain.
We have to destroy the clock. So creepy.
You can't do this alone. I can help you. You want to see some real magic? I'll show you.
Shall we?
God, I hate pumpkins.